Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being out here. We are on Versailles Road, and we're here today to talk about the Versailles Road Corridor Improvement Project. And the first thing I want to do is recognize Councilmember Richard Maloney. Welcome. Thanks for being here. I'm also here with Councilmember Jennifer Reynolds, City Engineer Doug Burton, and a very special guest, former Councilmember Peggy Henson. Welcome. Welcome back. Peggy worked for years to get this project started. She fought for the money, she fought for the project, and here we are at last. So Peggy, first of all, congratulations for your tenacity. The goal of the project is to make Versailles Road much safer for pedestrians. It features wider sidewalks away from the edge of the road, new curbs, and grass median between Village Drive and Mason Headley to calm the traffic. This project is about taking care of the basics. It's kind of like hometown housekeeping. Every homeowner knows that taking care of a home means keeping up with the basics. The same is true for our city. Hometown housekeeping is an important mission for our government. It's something we must always keep moving forward, even in a pandemic. This project is long overdue, and we are so happy it has begun, and we'll be glad when it's finished. And before I go to our speakers, I'd also like to recognize our Commissioner of Environmental and Public Works, Nancy Albright, who's with us today. Thank you. First today, we'll hear from Councilmember Jennifer Reynolds. She represents the 11th District. So welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you, Mayor. I am thrilled to be here today, and you can hear all the noise behind me of the traffic because of the work that has already started. The Versailles Road Corridor Improvement Project is one that has been in the works for many, many years, way before I was elected to council. Former Councilwoman Henson poured her heart into making sure this project happened, along with many others, including Councilmember Maloney, who's here today. Councilmember Henson is going to discuss a little more about the details on how we got to this point, but I really want to thank her once again for her diligence in finding the funds and working so hard to get the ball rolling on improving the Versailles Road corridor. I also want to thank Commissioner Albright and Director Burton and Head Project Manager Mark Phoebes. Versailles Road is a very important route here in Lexington. It takes people from the airport and Keeneland in and out of town to downtown and Rep Arena as well. Many locals and people visiting Lexington travel it every day. And there are a lot of positive things about this corridor. And there's many small and locally owned businesses right off of the corridor and restaurants that people visit frequently. And the corridor can connect you to many parts of town quickly. There's also a lot of residential housing right off of the corridor. And many, many families travel this area by foot, by bike, and by vehicle every single day. The 11th District and Lexington deserve a safe and nice corridor here on Versailles Road, such as other corridors that we have in town. We want to reduce pedestrian, bike, and vehicle accidents and make the road a safer one for everybody. The project will start that process. It will begin at Parker's Mill and it will end at Mason Headley, taking the sidewalks further from the road and creating a safer roadway, including bike paths. The first and second phase of the project will be one that will most likely take until the spring to complete. But the inconveniences in the meantime will be well worth the wait. Please drive safely and watch carefully as road work takes place. My goal is to eventually find the funds to finish all the phases of this project and to add some additional aesthetic features to this one. We are currently living in a time when things are uncertain. Even so, this corridor is one of my top priorities, and I will use my creativity and advocate for the continuation and completion of the Versailles Road Corridor Improvement Project. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Councilmember Reynolds. You're picking up the torch. Now, let's hear from former Councilmember Peggy Henson, who really worked so hard to make all this happen. Peggy?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Richard Maloney. I picked up the torch for Richard. Jennifer has picked up the torch from me. So that, I have my notes in my phone. Hopefully I can see them. But just to give you a little history, I'm thrilled that the work is finally beginning. But it was when I joined the council in 2008, January of 2008, this became a priority for the 11th district, and I felt that everything moved at a turtle's pace. But you have to remember, in 2008, we had a very, very poor economy. And that lasted for a few years after that. So it was very hard to get things moving. And I think Jennifer Reynolds, our current council person, faces the same thing with COVID. But I was worried all along. 2015 study getting underway in 2020 with COVID-19 around, and that the funding would go away. So I was really, really concerned with that. But it was, as I said, the funding for the design study was completed in 2015. So that's been 5 years in the making. And there are 2 other phases that were also designed. Total price close to $30 million. So this phase is, last I checked, was $3 million. And we will have to find funds after pandemic's over. But I want to thank Paula Singer, because when I first joined the council, she began Friends of Versailles Road, and she made it very clear that Versailles Road needed attention, and I agreed. This is my home, and this is where I've lived my entire life. So I'm very thankful for Paula for advocating strongly for Versailles Road. And the last thing I would like to say is, most importantly, the mayor has already said, as well as Jennifer, but to reiterate that I have a great deal of respect for the people who work and live along this corridor, and they should have a safe place to walk to the places they're going. They don't have access to vehicles, many of them. And you'll see wheelchairs quite often. And I even, one day I laughed because I saw a wheelchair pushing a wheelchair. So not funny when you're on sidewalks that we have. So very grateful to the city of Lexington for the funding, and very grateful for our mayor and current council to keep this moving forward. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Peggy. Peggy was never afraid to speak up, to advocate for this project. So thank you again. Now at this time, finally, we'd like to hear from Doug Burton. Doug is our city engineer, and he will talk a little bit, I think, about the details of the project. So, Doug?
Thank you, Mayor. So the project entails taking the sidewalks from the current 4 feet to 6 feet wide, and also pulling them anywhere from 2 to 7 feet away from the edge of curve. And that's really just for the pedestrian experience. Anyone who's walked this section or other sections where you have high-speed traffic next to pedestrian facilities is just a level of comfort that you don't have there, and this will really improve that. Also, we're adding, currently has an existing bike lane, but we're improving on that, and that we're widening it to 5 feet, and we're also adding a 2-foot buffer between the travel lane and the bike lane. So again, the goal of the project, we're really achieving that with improving pedestrian and bicycle safety, because that's the primary goal. It'll also tie well into a project that we just finished that both Councilmember Reynolds and former Councilmember Peggy Henson had a role in, and that's the connection to Oxford Circle. So we're just wrapping that up now, so that'll complete that leg from a highly residential neighborhood over here to the commercial neighborhood that we have here. So 2 other things to cover: maintenance of traffic. As you see today, we have traffic down to 1 lane in each direction. That'll only be during non-peak times, not during peak hours, rush hour. Also, we're working with a contractor to ensure at least one side of the sidewalk is open at all times, because just because construction starts doesn't mean people stop using the sidewalk. So the north side, which you can see directly behind me, has been demoed, and we're hoping to pour that concrete next week. And once that's completed, we'll start work on the other side. As far as schedule is concerned, we're shooting for majority of the work, which includes the retaining walls, both adjacent to the cemetery and over across from Village Drive. Those are necessary just to widen the sidewalk and bring it back away from the edge of the roadway. But majority of the work should be completed in January. Unfortunately, asphalt plants are closed usually until March or April, so it'll be about April before we'll close out the project. Thank you.